Unique wooden masks are carved to honor the dead. Placed in sacred shrines, these masks gradually return to dust, symbolizing the spirit's peaceful journey into the next life. Not all spirits can travel this path alone. Struggling with tragedies of their past, they linger and become more dangerous. Masters called upon to help these trapped and violent manifestations are known as spirit guides. Welcome back, everybody, to Game Over Play It Again podcast. This is Tom Watson coming at you, this time without Anthony, as we are under kind of a crunch to get an episode out. We started recording blueprints this morning, and the software quit recording about halfway through, and he wasn't able to finish it. So hopefully this episode does not have to be used right away, and we can get the Blueprints episode up on May 7th. But if you are hearing this episode on May 7th, then that was not the case, and you get to listen to the Kina podcast with me alone. So that is, it just is what it is. You can't fight technology, but this is a cute little game that I would love to talk about. It's one that Anthony had started. He was watching me play it on Twitch for a while, and I know he started getting into it, and then life happened, and we had other games we had to play. So we'll have to touch base with him and see how far he actually got in a later episode. But Kina Bridge of Spirits, it's a hidden gem. And that pun is completely intended because it is your job to help spirits leave this realm and move into the afterlife. And Kina's just trying to get to the mountain shrine because she has family that she's trying to help. And in order to do that, she has some different tasks that await her. But when you start playing this game as Kina, the first thing that they do is they make you learn how to use the pulse button. So it's L1 on the PlayStation controller, and that shoots out a shield and a ball of light. And this helps you solve puzzles, and it helps protect you, and it just gives you an idea of what to do in the game. This game doesn't just come right out and tell you exactly what you need to do. It gives you a lot of hints. So when you do this pulse feature, things light up. It might not be, it's not always stark turquoise, where you can always see exactly what's going on. Sometimes it's a little bit more hidden than that. But that is the life force of the game, so to speak.
Why have you come?
I sense suffering here, Spirit. Do you need help?
You know nothing of suffering. This is my home, my village. Turn back, Spirit Guide.
You come across two kids, Benny and Saya. and they're chasing this little rot creature. It's a little wisp, is what they call it. And these rot people, they help you on your journey. You're chasing after the kids. That way that you can learn what the main task is going to be. You don't know that yet, but the kids need your help to find their brother Taro. And the funny thing is that you are trying to get to this mountain shrine. And the kids are like, well, yeah, we'll tell you how to get there. We just need your help first with our brother, Taro, not Toro. He's not a lawnmower. So you set out on this path to find Taro and help his spirit move on. This is an action-adventure game with exploring and puzzles. Think of it like a smaller scale of Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West, in my opinion. There's a lot of DNA that Horizon has that this game is doing, just on a smaller scale. And in her world, basically the deceased people, they can remain between the physical and the spirit world. And if they're traumatized or have unfinished business, their spirits can't get to the other world. And so it's Keena's job to help that transition. And she needs to do that with the help of the rot. And the rot they can do all these different tasks. They can move objects, they can make shapes, they can distract the enemies while you're trying to attack them. And once you get into the game, there's actually parts where they become part of the weapons. And it's kind of hard to explain, but you're like, you'll have a bomb or something like that. You can actually make them part of that. And so on and so forth. I'll talk about the weapons here in just a quick second. And there's also currency in the game, which I think is kind of silly that, you're picking up gold, because the only thing that I really noticed that you spend the gold on is hats. And that's what I mean, is actually like hats that you put on the little rot people. So these little creatures, they look like a little black plushie, if you will. And so you're putting on like a baseball cap or a cowboy hat or something like that. So you'll have, and they're all black. And so all the hats are different colors. You got blues and reds and yellows and greens, and some are leaves, and some of them are actually the spirits that you're fighting. And so it's kind of cool, but it's kind of silly. The other thing you have is spirit mail. And I didn't experience this a ton, but throughout the game you'll find these letters, and what it'll do is you pick it up in a mailbox and they'll send it back to the home village, because you'll find the home village in the first 40 minutes of the game. And then there'll be spots that are doors that are blocked, and you go and you check that mailbox, and all of a sudden now the door disappears and you're able to go in and get an item or information for the next part, which is it's a cute little way to do it, but it's not something you absolutely have. The other thing is like, you're going to start out, once you get into the village, you're going to actually get Taro's spirit mask, and it will give you a glimpse of things that you need to do, places you need to go, so on and so forth. I actually have the game running in the background while I'm talking about it, just to kind of help give me hints and tricks. And it's so funny because I just found an item at the very beginning of the game that I know of, because you get a I don't want to say weapon, but you get an attachment that you can put on your bow that you can shoot out, and it'll make these big heavy rocks move. And I didn't actually know that until just this second, while this it's actually my Twitch stream running off of YouTube in the background. So it's just kind of cool. So sorry for that little ADD moment, but they happen all the time, and I'm glad that I get to share them with you guys. So weapons. So you start out with the staff, and when you start out, you go through, and when you find the little rot people, you take your staff and you tap it on the ground, and that lets them know that crystal that's in there and the spirits that are running through you, they know that you're good, and they know that they can help you. Okay. Once you've played for about an hour and a half, you'll come across a spot where you actually get your staff turns into a bow. and so you can use a bow and arrow, and you can actually shoot things. And that's when the game gets real fun, is when you're able to actually use a bow and arrow instead of just using your staff all the time and having to parry and whatnot. It actually lets you get away from the creatures, because they're twice to three times your size most of the time. And the game is it's really developed to make you dodge the creatures. And if any of you have watched any of my Twitch streams, and even my kids can attest to this, because they'll see me struggling with a game and they'll say, well, if you would dodge or block an attack, you'd get a lot further. And this game is no exception to that rule. It is constantly teaching you to dodge, whether it's a duck and roll, or it's a jump and roll, or anything like that. It really teaches you to be on the defensive as much, if not more, than the offensive. So there's all those different dodging tools. The game, you actually self-heal through the game. So when you're going from point A to B and you're going down the trail, your body is healing itself constantly, which is great. And because there's creatures that pop out all the time and you have to fight them. And you can't always have healing potions all the time. The other thing that's neat about this game, though, is sometimes that's actually not enough, especially when you're in battle with a boss or a larger creature. When you come across those, and it's not like there are 3 main boss levels in this game. We'll get back to that here in a moment, but there's a bunch of, for lack of a better word, mid bosses that you are fighting along the trail. And so when that happens, the little root people, you can tell them what to do. You actually accrue what's called courage points. So as you're fighting, you can tell the root people to either distract the creature that you're attacking, or help you by going out, and usually there's like flowers around, and you can tell them, hey, go to this flower and get me more health. And so that healing element is throughout the game the whole time, basically healing your soul, healing your body, which is great. One of the things that you're doing constantly in the game is there's all kinds of poison or corruption, depending on which which person you're talking to during the game. If you're talking to the kids, they just call it poison, because that's what they know it as. But basically, you have all this red vines and weirdness going on. It can be on the walls, on the ground. It can make walls so you can't actually go down the pathway. And all these creatures will defend it. And so you go and you defeat these creatures, and then they have like these little flower pods. And when you shoot them, they call it a heart of the flower. And so like it'll start out red, and you are able to shoot it then. But before you do that, you got to throw the rot at it. So the spirits are moving around. So when you actually get to shoot it or hit it, it's like you ignite that spirit that's in the rot, and they make all of the corruption go away. So it's really kind of a cute little game. So some of the pros in this game that I wanted to discuss is the game does hold your hand while you're playing. Like I said, it's not the hardest game. It's not like you're playing Horizon, but it's one of those. It's not open world like a Horizon. It's very linear in the fact that you need to do A, B, C, D. Now, in saying that, it is open enough to where you could do A, D, B, C. You don't have to necessarily follow exactly the path, but if it doesn't want you going down a different pathway, it's going to block it with that corruption, or it's going to have some kind of barrier to where you can't get past, whether it's something you got to complete this stage to get this part to move that thing. It's also like playing a Disney cartoon movie. I think is the best way to describe it. It's colorful, it's bright, its sound is very upbeat, but when it gets dark and scary, then the mood changes, and the sound, the music, it engages you. It goes from a light fluffy to a more dark just like as if you're watching a Disney cartoon. It's very simple. It makes you love the characters. It makes you love what they're doing, their quest and whatnot. And then you defeat that boss in that level, and it makes you feel for what's going on. It makes you feel for all the creatures going on. And then, oh, that's sad, because this person's in this predicament because, like for Taro example, he's trying to protect his younger siblings. And so he feels that he needs to go on this quest and do this thing, and he actually gets hurt. So the spirit world, he's in both the spirit world and the physical world, and he can't get over to the spirit world until this is done. So it actually is a very, very sad game, because that these people, these spirits that everybody cares for, they're actually gone. Or are they? That's kind of the trick with this game. A couple of the cons real quick. The button combinations that you do, you have your jump and you have your fight, and then you have your shield, but then there's everything in the middle, and it's all using 3 or 4 different buttons and different combinations of those buttons to do everything. So when I first started playing this game, I got this game when it first came out, and I played for about an hour, and I thought it's something that my wife would like to play. And so I showed it to her, and she played it for a little while. And then I thought, okay, well, she's done playing, I'll go play it. And so I tried to pick it up right where I left off after that hour, and I couldn't remember the button combinations. So I started it over, and I played for another hour, and then I had to put it up for whatever reason. And then I kind of forgot about it again. So the reason I picked this game up is that it was leaving PlayStation Plus. I couldn't remember if I bought it or not. I think the very first time I actually played it was through GameFly. And so, that is what happened, because we actually had rented it, and then I was going to buy it, and it went on sale, and then it went on PlayStation Plus. So that's the kind of the order it went through. But it was leaving PlayStation Plus, and I wanted to play this game. I knew it was a fun game. I just needed to play it. So I actually ended up starting it over completely. And in doing that, I just fell in love with it. So grand total, I have 14 hours on this game. 12 of it are actually a run through, and that's to 100% the game. That isn't all the trophies or anything like that. I'm actually only 53% done with the trophies. But to 100% the game was 12 hours. And I would say to 100%, get a platinum trophy, I would probably have another 10 hours if I were to do that. And it is a cute, fun little game. I just don't know if I'll get the time to get back to it, partially because it is no longer on PlayStation Plus. So I had to put a little break in this recording here. My microphone actually died in the middle of me sitting there yammering on, and I didn't even catch on to it. So I'm sitting there and talking and talking and talking, so I'm not even really sure what all I've said. So that being said, I rewound it a little bit there and heard the last thing I was saying, how it's no longer on PlayStation Plus, which is true. And I did double check. It is not on Game Pass, but it is on the Xbox there. And so for our scale of game over, play it again, it is a play it again for me. It it's right there with the Metacritic scores, maybe just a skosh higher. I'll give it an 85 out of 100. That seems fair to me for what it is. It is really a hidden gem, but I don't know when or if I will play it again. I played the game. I completed everything that needed to be completed, and enjoyed myself. Now, I could see maybe going through and playing it again on a harder setting, because I just did it on normal. And there are some of those fights that are just a big, huge pain in the ass. But I certainly am not going to go through and super hard mode this game either. This guy's just too old for that. That being said, if my wife decided that she wanted to pick it up and play it again, then I would definitely want to do it again, or help her and watch it. It's like I said, it's like playing a Disney movie, a Disney cartoon, if you will. And so it has all those beautiful aspects that you would come to expect from something like that. So that is where I am with the game. Like I said, we'll catch up with Anthony down the road and find out if it's something that he's going to finish. And maybe if he's going to finish, maybe I do fire it up again and I play it on a harder mode and we revisit the game when the time comes. If all goes perfect, which nothing does go perfect, but if it all does, and Blueprints actually goes live on the 7th, this could be a recording that never actually sees the light of day, or we play it so it gets him excited about playing it. So either way, it's all good. Yeah, definitely worth playing, and hopefully I do play it again sometime down the road. As for that, I know that I did throw up a poll in the Discord, and I also threw it up on Spotify. And we're pretty new into the podcasting world, so I don't expect for very many listeners to be doing that. And and the listeners that we have, some of them have communicated to me, but that's basically family and friends. So hopefully our podcast gets a little bit bigger and we can develop something where we actually have a poll that people care to vote on or give us suggestions of games that they'd like to see us play. It is a way for us to play games we've never played. Now, granted, 2 weeks is not a long time between games. So when we're playing something like Kena that we could knock out in a weekend or 2 weekends and give a decent review on, it's a lot different than if we had something like a Forbidden West game through Horizon. Actually, if this single podcast is a success, and I know I'm a little bit more monotone when it's just me doing this. This is my first time doing it like this. But I know for a fact that Anthony's not going to be able to take 60 hours and put it into Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West. And even at 60 hours, is that enough to beat the game? Could be. I know I did that. I've beaten both games, and they are not small, but they are really, really nice games. And so hopefully it's something that could happen for us. But if that is too big of a game for you, this might be a game worth checking out. So hopefully that comes across okay, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.